Yeah, some days I feel unfazed, like when I'm with my friends with a cup raised, and I go right back at it like an automatic. More drinks, more songs, more beats to rap. A new era, wet my P's and those O's. Need us Phillies with the orange and black to feel home. From Citizens Bank back to Camden Yards, it's a tale of two cities, and trust we go hard. Trust we go hard, yes we go hard. You said we go hard, I said we go hard. Rocking my Bob Cousy, stocking up on the loose. If the lyrics come easy, but the life is a doozy. And yes, I'm choosy, and no, I won't settle, but I still take pop off over that kettle, cause I'm talking bigger picture, and yes, I'm gonna hit you with the...
Hey up, you've read the title, you know what I'm making. If you don't know who VanossGaming is, then 1, how do you not know who Vanoss is, and 2, just imagine I'm making Batman but like with an owl head, and 3, seriously, how do you not know who Vanoss is? No, but seriously, VanossGaming is peak nostalgia for people around my age, and lately my channel is centered around nostalgia baiting you into watching my videos, so it's a perfect fit. Like I said before though, it's basically Batman, so I'm going to have him positioned in typical Batman fashion, on top of a building, with one leg stood on a gargoyle. It's Batman, but like with an owl head, you know what I mean? I'm using cosplay for this sculpt, and I was going to use a brand new pack, but then I remembered I still have some spare from my last video, so go and watch that one when you finish with this one. Shameless plug. So with the armature wire booked up with foil, I can begin slapping on clay to get a roundabout shape of some trousers. If you've watched my videos before, you know how this goes. I'm literally just putting clay on the model. I mean, there's not much more to it. I'm using this stock image to figure out where all the wrinkles and creases would be, and then add in them. If you have a functioning frontal lobe, you'd know where they are anyway. It's always good to have a reference though. Once I feel like it looks good enough, I can brush in some isopropyl alcohol to get rid of any unwanted fingerprints, and also to smooth the creases into each other a bit more. I've chopped off this bit of fabric from an old Assassin's Creed Ezio Halloween costume, which I've used to press into the clay to give it some texture. I didn't just chop it up randomly, the trousers didn't fit anymore, so... I'm actually pretty chuffed with how it's turned out so far, so I'm going to throw it in the oven to lock in my progress and start building up the boots and smoothing them out. Every bit of detail I've added to these boots is essentially a series of long, stringy clay worms that I've just added in different ways. And let me tell you, just one of these boots took me about 2 hours, and I've managed to condense that in about 20 seconds of footage, so you're welcome. I'm giving him some knee pads, as I'm following a few references for this actually. This and this one, but mainly this one, as you can see from the armor padding that he has on. Once that's all done though, his lower half is all baked now, so I can't ruin anything, and I can start building up his torso. This should be following the same formula as the trousers at this point, you know, building it up, smoothing it out, adding the wrinkles, applying the texture. But as I was trying to build up the torso, I couldn't figure out how big it should be in relation to the head, so I'm going to make the head now. I rolled up and made that ball of clay so I can hold it a bit easier while I make the idents and the V-shaped head. I've then shoved 2 pre-baked balls into his head for eyes, which you can add some eyelids on top of, and the feathers are basically just tiny bits of clay which I've pushed around with a silicone brush to make the correct shape. This is the final product, so I can shove that on top, make sure everything looks right, and start adding some wrinkles. Before actually applying the fabric to the torso though, my brain got carried away and wanted to make the hands, so we're making them now. Not gonna lie, I was quite stressed about how to make the hands. I've never been good at drawing hands, let alone sculpting them, but I think that goes for everyone, to be honest. Now, I know these aren't the best hands in the world, but I tried, okay? I had on a little how to make hands out of clay tutorial on in the background, but I think I can get away with them being a bit more bulky because they have fingerless gloves on. They're a bit short and stubby, I know, whatever. But when they're both finished, I can shove them into his forearms and finally add the texture. I've rolled out a thin sheet of clay with a pasta machine and cut it into strips to act as all the belts that he has around his waist and shoulders. Once I've added a few more details to them, I've made a small pouch which can give a bit of a shake to duplicate. The final thing to do for the torso then is to follow the reference that I showed earlier and add the elbow pads and the shoulder pads. I didn't want to just make a cape for this guy, I wanted to make a cloak because it's just way more badass. But when I went to try and press the fabric into the clay, it just didn't work at all. So I put them both through my pasta machine, and I'm glad I did because it's giving me this amazing effect you see here. I've then draped that over his shoulders and then propped the bottom bit up on a bit of armature wire so that when it bakes in the oven it looks like it's flowing in the wind, and I think that looks really cool. I'm gassing myself up, but I think it looks really cool. The plan for the base is to have him stood on top of a rooftop, so I've got a bunch of XPS foam to stack on top of each other to give it a bit of height, and then I've used some Mod Podge to glue them all together. I then stuck a weight on top, but it was way too heavy, so I just used the model instead. Once it's hardened, I've cut out a bunch of stone slabs which I can then pile into a biscuit tin full of rocks to give them all some texture. Oh yeah, I made a gargoyle off camera. I like doing stuff off camera sometimes. It's quite annoying to set my phone up all the time. I kind of really hate it. Anyway, once the model's primed, I can give it a few coats of blacks and varying lighter and lighter greys to break up the slight one-tone monotony. Here's the base again. I added a few more features so it's not as boring, as well as filling in any obvious gaps with some green putty. And then it's time to paint. A dry brush can give the edges of the clothes some highlights, and then I can very optimistically bust out some masking tape to try and cover up the black bits so it'll be easier to paint as what I thought. But as I was doing that, one of the pouches fell off, and then I just pulled the others off so I could paint them a bit easier. And then as I started painting on the yellow, I look at that. God. Okay, so as I'm grabbing this guy, you've probably noticed most of him is already painted. None of it is on camera though, and there is a valid reason for that, I think. Basically, I used this phone stand here to record these, and this attaches onto my wardrobe, and this is what happened to it. So, I got an upgrade, with its own ring light and everything. But now you get to watch me paint the head at least.
That clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me just let me That clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me Fuck all that shit, just let me go. Owers and tastemakers make us no chaser. Gets the blood flowing like a fucking pacemaker. Cut the middleman and inhale the vapors. Madman, old 10 Don Drapers. Cut the jukebox on, make the woofers blow. We gon' sit here until all them heifers go. Holler at the tens and spend a little dough. Not all them know they can buy their own drinks. Take that work week off, 5 days in the bucket. Fuck it, you got a boss who's a jerk who doesn't. Throw on some Wu-Tang, bring the motherfucking ruckus. There is no pretext. We are living and we love it on a budget. Never mind, we just nudge it to the side. Give the kids a little time. We are living till we die. Focused and we hustle, but we still be getting high. No exception to the rule. Do what you do to get by. Cause the clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me just let me That clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me fuck all that shit, just let me go.
This is a transfer print I've made which goes into water and then can be carefully moved onto the model. When I tried to transfer it though, it just disintegrated. I eventually managed to get it on, but it looked terrible because of the black background and the edges were all frayed anyway, so I just cut out a piece with the card still on the back and super glued it on. By the way, transfer paper, 15 quid, printer ink, 30 quid. Didn't even use them. It kind of doesn't look centered when you look at it first glance, but if you look at where his chest is in relation to the straps, it's centered. The last thing to do then is to airbrush on some ultra matte varnish, and then I called it there.
Hey! like assignments, cause he getting rich. At least the family fine, at least the family still fine. Not too hard to cry. The more you act, I try to miss you. Can't get kissed goodbye. Fighting demons inside, but just a little